Good evening. Welcome to the regular Selectmen's meeting. Today is November 7th, 2013. We'll open the Selectmen's meeting and I'll ask for a motion to sign the warrants.
I make a motion we sign warrants. Second.
All in favor? Three.
There's chairs up front.
Nope. Okay. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? Of the special town meeting dated October 22nd of 2013? If so, I'll ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of the special town meeting dated October 22nd, 2013.
Need a
Second it.
All in favor? Okay, and we have another set of meetings for the regular selectmen's meeting of October 24th. May I ask for a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? As soon as everyone's signed the warrant, we'll start with old business. I'll turn it over to John.
Okay. I had a conversation this week with Steve Healy from Pellet Show, and when I put this item on the agenda, I was expecting him to be here, but he called me this week and said he had a scheduling conflict, and he was going to be able to make this meeting, but he was going to try to make the next one if we needed him. Some people asked for a schematic as to how the Pellet Show boiler would hook into the heating system of the municipal building. And I got these late, and I'm not sure who has them and who does it. You do? Sarah?
No.
You will pass that down, Sarah?
Shows how the water goes through the system.
How it circulates, goes in, goes out.
Yeah, it's basically, I was hoping a schematic would give us some more information, but it's going to connect into our system on the return line going into the boiler. That would be producing, coming in with hot water, and then going into the boiler would be set at a certain temperature. So if the water coming into the boiler is warm enough to heat the building, then the circulators from the existing system would pass it through the rest of the building, and then it would come back into the Pelican boiler. If the water temperature was not high enough, then the oil-fired boiler would kick in and make up the difference.
We've had this item on the agenda quite a few times. We've had at least 2 visits from Steve. I really think that it's important that we make a decision. If the weather is getting colder, our boiler does have some problems. I think it works okay as a backup, but I'd like to hear any discussion. Go ahead.
Maureen, I'd like to state for the record that we have been around this issue for quite a few weeks now. I am comfortable with going with the 10-year contract with Pellico, and I'd also like to state that we would spend the money for heat anyway, which is all we're doing with this. We're not putting out anything for infrastructure or materials or a boiler. So that money would go right to heating the building. Also, if it wasn't for this opportunity that this plan presents, how would we come up with the money to fix the furnace? So I have no problem making this a motion to accept this And I realize that there may be two different thoughts on the length of the agreement, but I think that the 10-year agreement we should go with, because at the end of 10 years, the heating unit is ours. And if at that time there's another building we need to heat, we have a portable heating unit.
It's gonna be outside, so it could be
Yes,
moved.
right, it could be moved.
Right.
One item I'd like to add is I talked to Steve, now last week, we had two options. One was for a 10-year contract at, buying BTUs at oil equivalent of $2.99. At the end of the 10-year contract, we would own the boiler outright for $1. The second option was a rolling 5-year with a starting price at $3.30 oil equivalent, and then the buyout at the end of 2018 for $7,500, declining by $1,000 per year, and that's if we continued for the full 10-year term. He offered me a third option. This is a 10-year contract at the $2.99 equivalent price, but we would have the option to buy out the unit after 5 years for about $12,500 if we so choose. He said cost going in, including labor and installation, was going to be between $17,000 and $18,000. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think, for the old boiler and things running through the old boiler, within a 5-year period, if the old boiler holds in enough, water's able to circulate through it, we're gonna have to buy a new boiler. We're in the basement. And then we'll have a new boiler in the basement that would be adequate to run the whole system. Plus still have a 5-year contract with Telco on the outside that we gotta keep feeding through. So somehow or other there, it just seems like that
Yeah.
no matter how we cut the case, it's gonna go back to the boiler in the basement. If the boiler, the Telco boiler outside functioned on everything, and our boiler in the basement was offline,
Right.
only if we needed it,
Yes.
then you'd have something to kick in when you needed it.
Yes, and that's why.
But somewhere along the line, it's gonna catch up to the old boiler in the basement needing to be replaced within 5 years, most definitely 10 years, because we've said what we've got down there isn't a whole lot. And by using what we have right now and putting it on the line, we'll be lucky we get 5 years, and then we're gonna have to buy a new unit for this. And there's no doubt, I understand the no money thing up front, and the town's broke, and this is an opportunity in that one direction, but still, I think it's gonna really kinda like catch up to us within 5 years on a larger scale, but that's just how I see it.
I think that the 5 years gives us some time to put some money aside and look at other options. And I don't discount the option of the gas, the propane. It gives us some time to do some studying and to save some money. But, you know, it will give us some breathing room. And let's face it, we're getting rapidly into the season
Oh,
where
yeah.
we need to do something.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any comments?
In my opinion, if we're gonna do this, we need to go for the biggest savings for our town, go with 10 year and save in that time. And that was the recommendation of the, whatever we call that committee. Municipal facilities. Municipal facilities. Thank you.
Would you like to second? Mike's
Was it a motion?
Yeah.
It was a
Second.
motion.
That motion.
Any further discussion of the motion on the table, which is to go with Pelico for 10 years?
Only a codicil that we, during the budget cycle, we put money away
Most
each year
definitely.
for the purchase of the new boiler, which we will.
And I feel, going back to Jim's point, that we should not plan on saving this money in 10 years. I think it should be planned
A little
to
salt
save it
and
in
weight, a little
5.
bit each year, that's what we can handle,
But 5 should be our goal.
Right.
unless we hit the lottery.
Well, unless we hit the lottery, but you have to play the lottery.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to go with Pelico? Those against? Motion carried.
Just one thing, Maureen, is we make sure we reiterate for the 10th time that we're not out there with the metal rod
beating on those wood, those
Right.
wood pellets in the middle of February, 'cause it's not gonna be me.
I live close.
You're all set up with a Louisville plug.
Yeah,
Right.
nice,
Right,
The three of us live close, we'll
that's
take
right,
turns.
we'll walk
Okay,
up there,
good.
right,
good.
That's gonna be one of our duties when we meet, is to clean up.
to ask.
Yeah, well, the ash pan.
You can take turns on that.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, at the last meeting, there was a discussion of the board, and, there was some concern about the public comment, portion of the selectmen's meeting. Since that time, we worked and we put together a public comment policy, that I will read for the board and I'll read for the crowd.
For the record.
And for the record. I'd like to ask the board to comment on it and see if they would vote to adopt it. The objective of this policy is to provide guidance for the orderly procedure of the public comment portion of the Lubec Board of Selectmen's meetings. The selectmen realize during this time opinions can be raised by individuals who are passionate in their beliefs. Policy. This policy is to ensure that all opinions can be expressed and heard in an orderly fashion. Dialogue between any and all parties involved in the discussion must remain courteous and respectful at all times. Note from the MMA Municipal Officers Manual, see page 28, public participation. The public has a right to attend the municipal officers meeting, but has no right to participate unless the officers are allowed participation or unless the meeting or meeting item is scheduled as a public hearing. In most municipalities, the public is allowed to speak on business being conducted, but this is allowed as a courtesy and as such can be limited as the municipal officers see fit. Procedure. This policy will be dedicated to the public comment portion of any public meeting for the town of Lubec. The following procedure will apply. The public comment period will be moderated by the chairman of the board or person designated by the board chair and supported by a vote of the majority of board members present. This person will announce that public comment will be open. Should the board chair wish to regain public comment, then a majority vote of the board members present will return it. Any person who wishes to speak must raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the chairman. This applies to all persons in attendance. Only the person recognized by the chair may have the opportunity to speak. Once recognized by the board chair, a person must stand, state their name for the record. They must voice their comment or question to the board chair and afterwards sit down. The board chair may take the comment under consideration or open it up for further discussion. If the comment is to be taken under consideration, the board chair will inform the individual of their decision to take the topic under consideration and give them a time when they can expect a reply. If the topic is open up for discussion, anyone interested in participating shall raise their hand and wait to be called upon by the board chair. This applies to everyone present. All conversations and rebuttals shall be directed to the board chair only. All language and tone will remain respectful at all times. Once recognized by the board chair, they may speak for no longer than 2 minutes. Once finished, the board chair may reply or recognize another individual, and the procedure is repeated until all discussion is complete or the board chair calls an end to discussion. If a group of people are attending to discuss the same topic, a member of the group may be recognized by the board chair as speaker for the group. If the speaker goes over the 2-minute mark, the board chair may call a halt to the discussion. If conversation becomes repetitive, the board chair can ask for anyone offering new information, and if none, close discussion on the topic. Once a question is closed by the board chair, any further discussion of the topic must be approved by the board chair or a majority of the selectmen present. At this time, anyone wishing to discuss another topic may raise their hand to be recognized. If the board chair feels that the item offered for the discussion is similar to the closed topic, then the board chair can end the conversation. The discussion can only be reopened by a majority vote of the selectmen present. No one shall speak out of turn or comment unless they've been recognized by the board chair. To do so will be considered out of order. Out of order. If an individual has been declared out of order by the board chair, they will